Hello students, in this class we'll see some terms, some terminologies related with Java. The first one is encapsulation. You might have heard this word encapsulation. Now this is the time when you may understand, since you have made a lot of programs, you have seen a lot of programs and all. So most of the features of Java we can understand now. So let us start with encapsulation. So what is all these terms are very simple. No need to worry much about these things. So these things are usually in the beginning chapter of any book. You may find these terms there. But since we have done so many programmings and all, so it will be easy for us. So encapsulation in Java is a mechanism of wrapping the data, the variables, and code acting on the data, the methods. This is all about the together as single unit. Declare the variable of class as private. So encapsulating means what? Keeping things in wrapping up the things. Or look at this example. This is a good example where you can understand, or this example you have seen capsule, the medicine capsule. So this capsule is a class, and we encapsulate variables and methods. So you can understand easily. So this is called encapsulation. And let me show you any object oriented program that we have made. Any program just to take. Okay. Anything like this is one program. Here also what we have done, we have taken the variables. We have functions, function 1, function 2, function 3. We are calling these functions. And everything is there in class. Look at the curly brace. Look at the curly brace. So encapsulation means wrapping up of data and methods in a single entity for its safety. That is called encapsulation. Okay. So now another term that we can use. Encapsulation is this much only. Encapsulation simply means anywhere if it is asked or if you have to understand what is the concept encapsulation in object-oriented programming, it's quite simple. Wrapping of or enclosing or putting together or keeping together the data as well as the functions or the method in a class. Class, is an entity which contains data and members. So this whole process, this concept is known as encapsulation. Okay, so quite simple. Now another term related with Java or any other programming is abstraction in Java. So what is abstraction? So abstraction means abstraction in Java. Data abstraction is the property by virtue of which only the essential details are displayed to the user, and hiding the details and only disclosing or displaying only the important features and hiding the complications is known as abstractions. In simple terms, hiding all the complications and only showing, only displaying the important and easy things, that is called abstraction. Why so? What is the what is the use of this? This makes the whole system easy to operate, easy to use. So nowadays you may find a lot of apps are there, a lot of things are there which are quite easy to operate. The person who has never seen a computer or know nothing about operation of a computer can also operate those applications. Why? This is the concept of abstraction, which simply displays only the vital things, important things in a simplified version, and rest everything is hidden. A best example, we are using nowadays Google Pay or any other payment apps. Look, Making a bank transaction is not so easy task. But if you have done any payment using the Google Pay, how easy it is. I mean, you just need to put the phone number and the amount that you want to send and press the send button. Things, the money get transferred. So this could be called a very good example of abstraction. Only the important things or the easy things are visible to you. Rest, every complication is hidden. No, you do not need to know how the things are working. Let me make you understand this concept with an example. Suppose you are uh, driving a car. I mean, you are using a car if you have a car at home. So driving a car means what? You just need to see steering. You need to learn how to use the steering, change the gear, and how to use the accelerator. That's it. How to use the brakes. Only vital, important things are displayed, are given to you in the interface. Rest all the complications. Means you do not need to worry what happens when I actually press the brake. When I push the brake, then what exactly happens? You don't need to worry. What happens when you push the accelerate button or accelerate pad? Then what happens? You don't need to worry what exactly is happening inside. What happens when you turn the steering left and right? What happens when you change the gear? You never worry about all these things. So this is an example of abstraction. And now if with these examples, now it may be easy for you to understand. Abstraction is the property by virtue of which only the essential details are displayed, and rest, uh, let's see some other articles also what they say about data abstraction is the process of hiding certain details and showing only essential information to the user. All these things reflect the same thing. So how do we achieve abstraction? Look, we just need to call a function. If we want to get the square root, we have a sqrt function to get that. And like that, if you want to output something, we have println for outputting. If you have to do anything, we have function in Java. So we do not need to worry that how that is taking out the square root and what exactly is happening in the println or what exactly happening in this and that. We don't need to worry. We just need to know that this statement is this particular function is for this type, and just we invoke them. We just call those functions. So hiding details and only displaying the important features make the thing easy to use, and like this overall system become easy so that all can use this things. So nowadays this abstraction is followed with a great care so that everybody can use this, because these days everybody use a mobile phone, Android operating system and all. So even those who are illiterate, means they have never studied anything, they know nothing, even they do not know how to write their names, even such people are using the apps. Can you imagine how this is possible? This is just because of this technique abstraction, just hiding all the details and displaying only the simple or the essential things which all can use. So this is a data or the abstraction in Java. Okay. So after abstraction, we have another term, that is polymorphism. Let me show you polymorphism. All these terms you need to know. What is polymorphism? Let us first see the definition and then we'll see in detail also. Polymorphism in Java is a concept by which we can perform single action in different ways. This may not be very clear, but I'll make the point very clear. We can perform polymorphism in Java by method overloading. Now, this is one of the point that I'll discuss. And method overriding. If you overload a static method, it is an example of compiler. So the main point here is overloading. So let us first try to understand the meaning of the word polymorphism. So what is the meaning of poly? Poly means multiple, many. Morphism means forms. So if something is something exists in many form, or one thing exists in many form, how one thing can exist in many form, or how one thing can be used in different ways. So how it can be used, I'll show you. But before, you have to understand, if we could use one thing in a different form or a different ways, this is called polymorphism. And polymorphism can be achieved in Java. And this is also sometimes known as overloading. And overloading could be done, I mean, operators can be also overloaded, but mostly functions are overloaded. Now let me show you an example of function overloading. In last video, I have made one program, so it may take some time. Yes, maybe this. This is. Look at this program very carefully, okay? And this will help you to understand what exactly a polymorphism means. This, as you can find see the name, find area. Of course, this is a program to find the area of some object. Now, as per the encapsulation rule, we have data, we have functions encapsulated in a class. No problem. They are working. They are just finding the area. If you'll see the code, then you can find L into B is the area of rectangle, pi r square, area of a circle, half into base into height is the area of triangle. But you can see the name of functions. The name of function is area. Here also the name of function is area. Here also the name of function is area. I think this video is already uploaded. You may see how this video, this program was made. Title will be overloaded functions and all. You can see that. So the thing is, look at the name. Area is the name. Here also area. So this one name is being used for finding area of different objects. This is one simple example of overloading. This is called overloading. This is called polymorphism. Now you may wonder, what is this? Is this only polymorphism? Yes, this is polymorphism. Quite simple. Of course it is simple. This is one of the feature where we can use one thing. Now you may ask where we could use these things. So look, dear students, for such queries, the only answer is, if we'll make programs, if we'll try to make real life programs, then you will automatically know, then you will automatically understand the utility of all these features. For that, you'll have to involve yourself in programming, and that can only give you the real answer. Okay, you'll automatically get the answer. Although one more thing that I'd like to tell you here, I focused only on the name, but the main thing is, the name may be same, name is same, of course, but there must be difference in the argument or in the return type. So look at the prototype of every function. Look at this first. This is return type is int. The name is of course area. What kind of parameters they are ready to accept? Integer, 2 integers normally. Look at this. This is totally different from that. This is ready to, or this is designed to accept only float, one parameter, one argument. Whereas this is for float type parameters. So there is difference in the argument list or return type, which decides which function to call in which situation. Now, don't worry about these, what is happening inside, or you may watch the previous video, but see here. An object is made. Now see, as per the data provided, the relevant function will be automatically called. In this case, area is the name of function, but the data, what data I'm giving? I'm giving one float data. Now see which matches, this matches best, this match best. Okay, so this fits best. So this will be called. In another case, look, 2 floating point data is there. Then which function will be called? This function will be called. Okay. Another case, 2 integer data is there. Okay. So 2 integer data, this will be called. So this is how polymorphism is achieved. So quite simple, using one thing, or once again, now see the definition. Polymorphism in Java is concept by which we can perform a single action in different ways. We are performing the action area, but in different ways. Now another line. We can perform polymorphism in Java with method overloading. What is overriding? I'll discuss in the next class. It's also very simple, but overloading is the more valuable thing. So overloading simply means this, method overloading. Here I'm overloading the method. The name is one, and it has been overloaded with a lot of different tasks. It's taking out the area of rectangle as well as the area of circle and the what area of triangle as well. Fine. So if you wish to read some more article, see some more article just to uh, check whether that first one was okay or not. Polymorphism is the ability of an object to take on many forms. Look, a little difference, but the same thing. The most common use of polymorphism in OOP occurs when a parent class referred user to the child class. Any Java object can be passed more than one. Look, now this is making the thing complicated, but the thing is same. If you'll see some more, you'll find that only one function is overloaded with different tasks. Okay. So no issue. You may see some more. This W3 school presents some better, polymorphism in many forms. And it occurs when we have many classes that are related to each other by inheritance. So inheritance is also something, and there also polymorphism is implemented. But those things we'll see when we'll see the inheritance in detail. Like we specified previous inheritance, let us inherit attribute from other class. Polymorphism use those methods to perform different tasks. Yes, the same way. I'm telling you again, when you will see inheritance, we'll see these things in detail. Example, a good nice piece of example maybe there. Or better to see example of polymorphism in Java. Method overloading is an example of a static polymorphism. So program polymorphism in Java with example. Let us have a look over it. Polymorphism is the capability of a method to do different things based on the object that is acting on it. All of these things indicate the same thing. Okay, I think the example which I show you was the best example to understand this. Rest, if you'll study more, then you will get more idea about these things. And one more thing is there, overloading and overriding. And since we have to take care of time also, so let us leave this topic for the next video. Okay, there when we will study inheritance, at that time the difference between overloading and overriding will become very clear to you. Okay, so keeping time in our mind, let us discuss few more things. Okay, so these are the main concepts: encapsulation, and data hiding is also that data hiding also comes under encapsulation. Look, data hiding means what? Data hiding is one more term. All are interrelated. Data hiding means if you are defining or declaring or using any data in a class, then there is no means through which that data can be used in any other class. Okay, so you'll have to look after a lot of things, and only then the data can be used in the another class. Means data has got utmost importance. Nobody can use data just simply to use the data. Data has got the utmost importance. So data hiding hides the data and it reserves its use within the class. If you want to use the data in another class, then you have to follow different things. You have to allow permissions and all, and then data can be used. So data hiding keeps safe the data. And what we have seen, encapsulation we have seen, enclosing or encapsulating or wrapping up of data in function. Then abstraction means what? Hiding the details and only displaying simple things and making the things simple to use. That is data abstraction. Best example is when we use any function, we don't need to worry how this function is defined, who defined this, how what is the logic behind that and all. We just simply use the function and get our work done. So best example is this. Like when we are driving a car, we do not worry, or when we watch a TV, then we do not worry how we are changing the channel, what is happening inside and how the changing and all. We just simply push the button to increase the volume or decrease the volume, and we are happy with that. We never worry that what exactly is happening, that the volume is getting down and up when we are watching a TV. So that's again an example of abstraction. So after that, encapsulation, then abstraction, then we also saw the polymorphism. And polymorphism can be well understood uh, when we'll discuss in detail what is inheritance. But let me tell you what is inheritance. In whatever time we have, let us see inheritance in Java. That also you need to know. Look, inherit word you already know. We inherit properties from our parents the same way. Inheritance in Java is a mechanism in which one object acquires all the properties and behavior of the parent object. This may be a little complicated to you. What is this? But yes, this happens. Means if you have made a class, now what does a class contain? It contains data and functions. And now suppose if you would need one more class, but in the new class that we want to make, all the functions, all the data are needed, which we have already made in the first class. But few, two, three more extra functions are only needed. So instead of redefining the new class, from the beginning, we can inherit the class one. I mean, if we have a class one which is already existing, and if we want all the properties, all the data and members to be used in the another class, then we can simply inherit. We not need to define a new class with all the efforts that we applied in the first class and all. No, the thing which we have already made can be reused. Inheritance also provide the uh, reusability, another feature of Java, reusability. I mean, if you have already defined functions and data for some purpose, and now after 6 months, 1 year, you need a similar class, but with 2, 3 more extra features, then what I'm saying is you do not need to create the whole class from the beginning. You can inherit the existing class. And inheritance to what? Inheritance acquires all the property of existing class, and all those property will be the part of the new class without actually defining. And this is how we can reuse the existing code and we can add the new features in the new class. And this is how our work become easy. So let us have a look over some examples. If it is, look, class is there, and see, main function is there. Look, one class is class calculation, and another class is my calculation, which extends calculation. Extend inherits. So what will happen? Everything like word addition, subtraction will become the part of calculation also, where we are only defining multiplication. So we do not have enough time to discuss in detail, but for right now, this is enough.